I often get asked, how much do I need to swim to get faster? Well, that's a great question, and we're gonna address that in this video. We're gonna talk about 3 different groups. We're gonna talk about pure swimmers, lap swimmers, master swimmers. We're gonna talk about triathletes, how much do they need to swim to get better? And we're gonna talk about young kids who have dreams of going to the Olympics, swimming in college. We'll talk about what they need to do as well. So whether you're a beginner or an elite swimmer, dive in because there's gonna be something in this video for you. I'm Lukas Siska, welcome to the channel. I'm so glad you're here. So we're gonna start off this discussion by talking about our pure swimmers, and those are our lap swimmers and master swimmers. And we've broken it down according to ability level. We have starters, people who are just getting wet for the first time. We have beginners, we have intermediate, advanced, and then we have our pro/elite swimmers. And we're gonna talk about exactly how much you should be swimming if you wanna get to that next level. And we've done a test set for each of these groups so that we can classify more specifically. The test set for a starter is 3 times 100 meters on 20 seconds rest in between. If you're someone who's currently swimming around 2 minutes per 30 on those hundreds or slower, we'd classify you as a starter. So let's write that down. 2:30 plus per 100. All right, our beginners, we're gonna do that same set, 3 times 100 on 20, but now you're swimming a little bit faster. You're swimming 230 and all the way down to 150 per 100, okay? And that's what we would classify as a beginner. Now our intermediate, we're doing a little bit longer of a test set because you're a little bit higher level now, and you're doing 5 times 100 on 20 seconds rest. And for this, if you're in the intermediate category, we'd say you're holding at least 150 down to 130. Okay, now for the advanced category, we stretch out that test set a little bit further, and now we're doing 10 100s on 20 seconds rest. And if you're in what we classify as advanced, you're holding right around no slower than 130 per 100 down to 110, okay? And that's an advanced swimmer. Now for our pro/elite, of course, these guys are just swimming animals, and they're doing 20 times 100 on 20 seconds rest. And for a set like that, they can hold no slower than 110 and all the way to super fast. I mean, if you're talking about Olympians, they're doing like 51s, 52s on that. Well, maybe not in meters, but in yards, all right? So those are the categories. So if you want to reach these higher categories, if you're currently in a lower one, this is the exact amount of volume that you should be doing. If you're a starter, again, these are people who are just getting into the water for the first time. Maybe swimming 50 to 100 meters is a real struggle. And you might not be swimming 2:30, you might be swimming 3 minutes, 4 minutes. In order for you to improve at this point, you just need to swim consistently, at least 3 times a week. And I would say around 600 meters to 1,000 meters, okay? And you might say, hey, I can't even swim that straight. Well, that's okay, because you can use equipment. You can use things like buoyancy shorts to help you float better. You can use paddles, you can use fins. Use that equipment to help build that volume so that you can build swim fitness and master the technique. All right, there's nothing wrong with using swim equipment, just don't let it become a crutch for you, okay? Now, if we go to the beginners, you're swimming 230 to 150. So at this point, if you wanna jump to that next level, you need to be swimming more than 1,000. I would say more like 1,500 meters per session, all the way up to 2.5K, so 2,500, okay? And you need to do that 3 times per week. So let me go back here. So we're talking about roughly 3,000 meters weekly for a starter. Here we're talking about 7.5 km. And I'm sorry if you can't read my writing, but we're talking about that kind of volume. So 1,500 if you on the lower end, 1,500 each time, 3 times a week. You're looking at 4,500, but on the higher end, we want to shoot for that 7,500, 7.5K. Okay, on the intermediate, if you're at this point, in order for you to jump to advanced, you should be swimming a minimum 2.5K, okay? And you should be shooting more for that 10K per week. So we're looking at least 3.3K if you're swimming 3 times a week, all right? For a total of 10K is the goal. 10K to get to the next level. Okay, so here we have 3K starters, beginners 7.5, intermediate 10K. All right, now for the advanced swimmer, okay, this is where it starts to get interesting because now you are a good swimmer and you really want to take it to the next level. Volume at this point, in order to take it to the next level, we're going to kind of skip a step. You need to be swimming a minimum of 15K per week. All right, I've stopped talking about how much in each session because you can break it down in the sessions however you want, but 15K at least per week, and more along the lines of up to 30K per week. All right, and the 30K per week, this is actually something that you should be shooting for more on a regular basis if you want to get to that next level. 15K should be maybe on a recovery week or an off week, but that 25 to 30K is what you want to be shooting for if you have aspirations of going to that next level. Okay, so pros and elites, all right, you're already at the highest level, and if you want to stay there and maybe just make those fine adjustments and just get better and better, depending on the stroke that you swim and the events that you do, and that's the same for advanced, you need to at least be swimming 30K, okay? And there's some pro swimmers, if they're distance swimmers, I mean, they could be swimming 100K per week, okay? And that is completely normal for them. So yes, it varies upon the events that you do and the strokes that you do, but in general, this is kind of like a guideline. If you're swimming lower volume, but your paces are at a higher level, that just shows that you're a talented person and you're actually, if you swam the volume at that next level, you would really rapidly improve. So that should be an encouragement for you. And guys, if you want to know your true swim potential in this moment, I want you to take my quiz and we'll give you a score to let you know. Look in the comments below, click the link and find out. Now let's move on to that next group, triathletes. Now triathletes are a little bit different than pure swimmers because they are training 3 sports, and thankfully there is a crossover effect when we train. When they're doing the cycling and the running, there is a fitness effect that takes place. And plus they're training 3, so they don't have time to do as much volume as a pure swimmer does. So because of that cross-training effect, there's slightly different numbers, especially when we get past the beginners and go to the intermediate to the elite. But with our starters and beginners, in order for you to become better at swimming, you need to do what we said in the previous category. You need to swim at least 3K per week if you're a starter, and you need to swim at least that 7.5K per week if you're a beginner in order to improve. And I see some advanced triathletes, I say advanced because their cycling and running ability is really advanced, but they're swimming this beginner level and then they tell me, hey, I can't improve at swimming. I don't understand why I'm plateauing. Well, it's because you're swimming this much. Your cycling and running's up here, but you're training as if your swimming was down here. In order to get better, we've got to do the work, guys. And swimming is definitely a sport that requires fitness to get faster. So let's cut to the chase. So with our intermediates as a triathlete, we want to shoot for that 10K. That was the previous example as well. But if you can get a minimum of 8 to 10K as an intermediate, then you're in a good spot, okay? But then for the advanced, we start with that 10K. You can maintain an advanced swimming level if you consistently swim 10K as a triathlete, okay? But we wanna be shooting for more, okay? If we wanna take it to the next level and really make our swimming something that could be a weapon as a triathlete, we need to be shooting for that 15K on average for an advanced swimmer, okay? 15K would be the goal. And you could break that down several ways. You say, well, how in the world would I get 15K swimming in when I'm cycling this much and running this much? You know, I have my athletes do, if they're at this level, we have some of them that prefer to kind of batch it and they go 3 swims at 5K. I've got one swimmer that prefers to do 2 swims at 7.5K because they only want to go to the pool twice a week. You know, that could be up for debate whether that's as beneficial as the other, but in the end, they're getting the job done and they're swimming 15K a week. But you could split this up into 5 swims at 3K. Maybe you're part of a master's group and you're doing that. But you need to be shooting for that 15K per week. So with our pros and elites, These guys, if they're wanting to get to that level, if you want to become a pro or an elite in triathlon, you need to minimum be swimming 20K per week. And if you're a weak swimmer, then you need to be shooting for that 30K. And you can go lower. There's some exceptions. If you come from a massive swimming background and you were an elite swimmer, then you could get away with swimming 15K per week. And this is true for guys like Richard Varga. You know, he was an exceptional swimmer, national champion in distance events. And he could swim as a triathlete and have a high level by just swimming 15K per week. I was swimming in that 20 to 25K per week when I raced professionally, but I knew plenty of guys that were swimming 30K per week. So those are the numbers for triathletes. Next, let's look at those young kids who have big dreams. What we're about to talk about could be very interesting for parents who have kids that swim, or if you're a kid watching this, we're gonna try to inspire you with what you need to be doing if you have big goals. Division I swimming, Division II swimming, Olympics, this is all for you. So what you need to realize is that if you have those kind of big goals, we're gonna go away from the whiteboard now and just talk about what you need to be doing. You know, by the time a kid is about 12 years old, they should be swimming year round already. Swimming just in the summertime is not gonna cut it if you have these kind of goals. Generally, the mistake that I often see, you know, parents come to me asking, you know, what should my kid be doing? They wanna do this in swimming, they wanna do that in swimming. And what I often see the mistake is that the parent will just give that kid the opportunity to swim, but they will just take him to the pool every day and say, hop in and swim. And that kid, he might be motivated, he might swim a lot, but you know, he doesn't really know what he's doing. You know, he's not gonna get much out of it. And I see this a lot at the YMCA, that you see parents with kids just swimming on their own, trying to help them get to that level. Well, the best way obviously is to get a kid in a USA swim team here in America, or a swim club if you're in Europe or wherever you are. Get them with a coach that is knowledgeable and also has a squad of kids trying to shoot for the same thing. But if you don't have that, you want to get that as soon as you can, but we're going to get specific and talk about the kind of training these kids do. You know, back when I was a kid, I grew up in a small town in East Texas, and thankfully we had a swim program that allowed me to eventually swim in college, Division II, and then become a professional triathlete. But we didn't quite understand in that small town what it really took to become an elite swimmer. You know, back then I thought swimming 4K per session was a lot, and it is a lot. You know, but it's only when you go to an elite club that you realize what kids are doing to really go to that next level. And I found that out one time when I was going home on Christmas break, my freshman year of university. You know, I was already swimming more in college, that's to be expected, but I went home to where my parents had moved in Nashville to a club called Nashville Aquatic Club. This is a club that produces Olympians and Division I swimmers regularly. I swam with them over the Christmas break and I was just shocked at the training that they did. They were swimming 7 to 8K in the morning, and then they were swimming 8K in the afternoon. And what was even more shocking is in the morning one time, I was doing a set. They had us doing sets of hundreds like we just talked about. I was doing a set of maybe 10 100s on 20 seconds rest. I was holding 58 per 100, okay, on this set. This is when I was in peak swim form. I'm talking yards, guys. So for my European and international viewers, I'm talking yards. So 58, that's like 104, 105 in a meter pool. And next to me, as I was repping this, pushing it pretty hard, there was a 12-year-old kid that was just right on my heels, doing the exact same thing, same interval, same pace. And I was just amazed, how in the world is he doing this? But then I sat back and scratched my head a bit and I realized, man, this kid has been swimming this kind of yardage for who knows how long, and he is super conditioned. You know, to him, this is just another normal day. Whereas to me, swimming 7 or 8K in the morning, 7 or 8K in the afternoon, it was a shock to the system. So that's a little bit of the extreme. That's a club that's producing elite and college swimmers and Olympians regularly. As a matter of fact, Gretchen Walsh, the world record holder in the 100-meter butterfly, comes from this swim club. There's probably more Olympians that come from there. You just have to look it up. But anyways, my point is, if you have a kid that is trying to go big, just because they're young, that doesn't mean they can't handle big amounts of volume. Ideally, they don't do it alone, because they could get burnout, but they would be in a club like Nashville Aquatic Club and really have a chance to make it. And these kids are swimming 25 to 50K per week, on a regular basis. Obviously, you need to listen to the body, you need to adapt the training volume to where the kid is at, but this is just for your reference, what kids are doing that want to go to that high and next level. I have without a doubt that if I had been training at that level with that amount of volume since I was 12 years old, who knows where I could have taken it in swimming. I know I don't have the talent to make it to the Olympics, but I do believe I could have swam a lot faster than I did at that time when I was 19 years old. Volume is crucial for improving your swim performance. Why? Because the bigger base volume you have, the higher your peak can be. And yes, there are other factors involved in improving your swimming, but volume is a great place to start if you don't know why you're not improving. Now, if you want to see a video that tells you exactly what swim stroke your body was naturally made for, check out this video. And until next time, I'm Lukas Siska. Take care.